Hi, friends. I'm Emily Lay, and you're listening to the Simplified podcast. If you're looking for a soft place to land as you try and filter out the noise and hustle of it all, this is it. You're in the right place. Every week, I will pop into your ears and invite you to slow down for just a few minutes, to take a breath, and join me to explore practical ways to simplify, organize, and automate the complicated parts of life so you can focus on what truly matters most. Okay, is there anything more fun than having a friend over? Seriously, I'm 38, almost 38 years old, and I still get excited about it. These days, coming over usually means dropping into my Zoom room while we have a glass of wine and pretend like we're on the couch. But honestly, I'll take it how I can get it these days because friendship is so very important to me. I know it is to you too. And no wonder it's so important to us. We were made to connect with other people. And when you do find someone you have a spark with, you just know. That's the kind of lightning in a bottle chemistry that says, I see who you are, I know you, and I like you. Don't change. I'd never want you to anyway. If I'm being honest, that happens less than it used to. I'm not sure when it started, but I think it must have been after college, definitely after I had kids. It's just not as easy to make friends as it used to be. And practically speaking, I get it. After school, we start to filter into the world and away from our peers who knew what it was like to grow up in the same years we did, who watched the same shows and went through the same moments of history when we were all at those critical ages where we soaked up everything that was going on in a way our parents never could. Then we have kids and we see even fewer people, at least for the first couple years. Our world feels like it gets a little smaller and it can feel a little suffocating. But it doesn't have to feel this way. I know it takes a little more intention as a grown-up, but it's possible to have sweet, fulfilling friendships. I have a friend who fits that bill for me, and her name is Kristin. So since Kristin is my ride or die, she's going to drop in on the podcast from time to time. We will welcome you into our BFF circle so we can talk about it all. Babies, relationships, favorite recipes, shows that we're binge watching. You never know. It's going to be a mixed bag. And today, we're going to talk about what it's like making friends as a grown-up. Here is my conversation with Kristin. Hi, friends. Hi, Kristin.
Hello. Hello.
I don't ever call you Kristin. To your face, I do, but if I'm writing anything or talking, it's KNW. So everyone, this is Kristin, otherwise known as KNW, which is her monogram. And Kristin is one of my very best friends who lives in North Carolina. And we are excited to welcome you to our very first BFF chat on the Simplified podcast.
Am I allowed to clap? I feel like I should be like,
yay! Y'all, we're so excited to do this. And we have talked forever about doing this. Back when we both lived in Tampa, we talked about doing this.
Yes. As a joke, we were like, wouldn't it be funny if we did a podcast? Ha, 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 ha.
And we talked about we could just talk about twin momming and The Bachelor and
hot rollers and what we bought in the J. Crew sale. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what you're going to get a mixed bag here on our little BFF chat. Backstory to Kristin and I. So we worked together ages ago. Like a really, really long time ago. And we
almost 10 years ago.
Okay, that's crazy. Which means Brady would have just been born
when
we met. And then when we got to meet in person for the first time, I told Kristin, my hair is impossible to tease. And Kristin told me that was a lie.
In honor of that, I brought the teasing brush with me.
By the way,
even though it's a podcast.
I still think that it's impossible to tease my hair, but that's a whole other thing. So I have pictures of Kristin backcombing my hair. And that was our first time meeting in person. And ever since, we've just been best friends. And God is funny, and our stories have crossed so many fun different ways. But now I live in Pensacola with our 3 kids and my husband, and Kristin lives in North Carolina and has twins as well. So we're both twin mamas.
It is sort of crazy when you think about it, but I am a mom of 3-year-old twins, and we live in North Carolina, which means we're sort of semi-close to family. And I spend most of my days hanging out with 2 people that are 3 feet tall and trying to just manage a circus in the midst of, I don't know, whatever else happens during the day.
Kristin, this is a shameless plug for my new book, Growing Boldly, but Kristin let me share her story, which maybe we can do a podcast one day about your transition, like in this season of life. But Kristin's story is in Growing Boldly, and it's really amazing and encouraging as she left the corporate world and is spending this season as a full-time mama to Anna Gray and Wright, who are two of my favorite people on the planet. So this episode, well, all of these episodes when Kristin and I talk, our hope is that it just feels like sitting down with girlfriends and talking about things that are very important and also things that are not important at all. Because I think right now in our world, people are like really lonely and we all miss like our friends and our coffee dates and our get-togethers and our travel plans. And so my hope is our BFF chat will feel like you're sitting down with your BFFs and we're talking about all the things. And today we are going to talk about making friends as grown-ups. Dun,
like
dun,
dun. Some like sort of ominous music because it's a thing, right? Making friendships as adults is hard. I'm allowed to say, right? It's hard.
Yeah. It's really hard. And I think it's especially hard now with COVID, because you can't like get together with anybody. I also feel like you and I have a special friendship. I have some very close girlfriends here in Pensacola that I love dearly. And I have a couple of best friends from my childhood, but like I sometimes struggle with friends. Can I say that?
You can.
I do. And I think a lot of women can relate to this. Like sometimes friends are hard because we get so busy, especially with little ones and life. And oh my goodness, this past year, like virtual schooling and all the things. And I feel like I've learned a lot from you about how to be a good friend. And I think it's so hard to know like the right ways to nurture friendships and things that we can do to take care of those. And also, I think sometimes it's just hard to be vulnerable and like be yourself when we're grown-ups. We're not little kids anymore.
Or to make that a priority in the midst of 10,000 other things that seemingly take on more importance. And I don't know, like when you were younger, you made friends based on your environment and your circumstances, right? You made friends with somebody that you met at school because you spent 7 hours a day and on the playground and in the lunchroom, or you made friends at your church or at your community group or your Girl Scout troop or whatever, like extracurricular activities, your sports teams. And like, it was sort of a built-in way to open that door. We can get ourselves so busy doing other things that like, it's really hard to make friends because we don't prioritize it as, I don't know. And we don't find places to make new friends. And then it gets into the whole, how do you be vulnerable with these people that you haven't met, that don't know the first 20, 30, 40 years of it? It's complicated.
It's so complicated. When we moved from, to back it up, when I moved to Tampa, when Brian and I got married, I had just really, I tell the whole story in Growing Boldly, but like really bad interactions with other girls that I was kind of like forced into friend groups with, not forced, but like it was friends of friends' wives type of thing. And I just had to be in the same friend circle with them. And they just didn't, I just was not like them. I just didn't fit in. It was very uncomfortable. It was very forced, but I felt like I had to force the friendship. And then that obviously didn't go anywhere. And then when we moved home to Pensacola, I just immediately found these girlfriends that I clicked with like right away. And it was because foundationally, like we had so much in common. And I met them because they are the mothers of kids Brady's age and my twins' age.
Okay, so I have some holes to pick in this or to like poke through this, because I oftentimes tell the story about when Kyle and I got married. I was just around 30, I guess. And I moved from a bigger city in North Carolina to a very small town in Virginia. And there were not a lot of people in our same season. There were not a lot of people. And I was desperate for friends. I actually consider myself as someone who makes friends fairly easily. Like it's just part of my nature. And I had the hardest time. I distinctly remember going to a spin class at the gym, the local gym there. And there was a girl next to me on the bike and she had on pearl earrings. And I thought, oh, I wear pearls. She wears pearls. Like, I'm just going to like strike up a conversation very casually. And like, we can just like just even be friends in the spin class, like nothing like formal. We're not like going out to dinner or anything. Just like, I was like, hey, hi, nice to see you. Like, I really like your earrings. I wear pearls too. And she was like, and then turned around and like, that was it. And I felt like, I don't understand. But this is my hole that I would pick in your Pensacola story. Yes, circumstances, you have friends that are similarly, but I think that the more confident that you become in yourself and like, you're like, this is who I am. Like, this is like what I know about myself to be true.
Yeah.
This is like, not sort of take it or maybe it is take it or leave it. Like, this is what you get when you get me.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe not easier to make friends, but that process becomes clearer because it's clear in who is willing to like take that on, you know, like in your, then it becomes a little bit easier. I don't know, trying to navigate that. But I really think that there's a sense of self that comes alongside making adult friendships because you're, like you said earlier, you're not forced into it or anything because we're busy. You have to want to do this. So you have to find people that you're willing to sort of be yourself, because it's too much pressure to like put on airs and do all the things because you got other stuff going on. I don't know. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. I think that thinking of relationships that didn't pan out, or friendships that didn't pan out, it was me trying to chameleon my way into that friendship, you know, and like be who I felt like I had to be. And I think it has to do with age and maturity and kind of becoming who you're meant to be and all of that. And so I think as we become adults, it can be harder to make friends, but maybe those friends we do make are the really good kind, because we are a little bit more confident in who we are. And we are kind of showing up like, here, this is me. This is what you get. And, you know, to be honest, when I think of my like best friendships right now, when I think of you and like my friend Jane here in Pensacola, when I think of my very best friends, there are people that they know that I am a little bit of an introvert, believe it or not. They know that I'm terrible at picking up the phone. You can tell everybody, Kristin.
Yes, it's fine. It's fine. That's another podcast for another day about how to manage friendships and nurture friendships when we can talk about that later. Add that to our list.
Totally. We have a list of 900 things we want to talk about. So, okay, if somebody's listening and they're like, I don't have a best friend, or I don't have someone close to me that I can call when life is hard, or that I can catch up with, or that I can count on if something happens or I need something. What's your best tip? Like, I mean, in COVID times, like, it's hard. It's not like you can just like go to church and meet someone in Sunday school.
I think that it's a little bit of being accepting of unconventional friendships.
Yeah.
So they're not going to look the same. They're not going to necessarily be what you would hope that they would be in times where meeting for coffee or that kind of thing is a more commonplace. I think that they potentially happen on platforms and via things that you might not necessarily be looking for them on, but that doesn't mean you can't nurture them and grow friendships. That you just have to be open to them looking differently. But I actually think this is a great time to make friends, maybe because other people are in the same boat as you. Other people, like there's so many other people that are maybe feeling lonely or are feeling whatever with all the things that are happening. And I don't know, I just think that they look unconventional.
And that's okay.
Yes, because some of my very best friends, I'm looking at one of them.
Right.
I haven't seen you in person in a year and a half, but that doesn't mean that we haven't figured out ways to get around. Like we normally would see each other, 3 or 4 times a year between your travel schedule to North Carolina, me trying to make it down to, there, we used to live next door to each other. So we saw each other almost every day, but
that was fun.
I think that was fun another day, but I think that you just have to be willing to flex some different muscles when it comes to friendships. Because I do think it's still possible. Maybe my biggest tip is to be willing for it to fail, like not fail, but like for it to not work, but it still be worth continuing to look. Because I think about if I'd closed myself off in Virginia when my pearl wearing friend on the spin bike was like, no, thank you. I would have never made.
She didn't know what she was missing out on.
I wonder if she's listening. Are you listening?
I know.
I wouldn't have made some of the dear friends in Blacksburg that I could have, like that I wound up making because I was willing to continue to put myself out there. So just because it doesn't work with somebody, or just because you don't click right away, or just because it's not whatever, and you're not supposed to be identical. That's what fun is that? Like we have a lot of similarities, but we are very different people, and that helps us balance each other out. So maybe looking for someone, you're not looking for your exact carbon copy.
I also think sometimes we have to make friends like second grade style. Like we have to invite ourselves to things, and let's pretend like COVID's not a thing and we can all get together and do all the things. Maybe these get-togethers I'm going to talk about are happening over Zoom or whatever. But like when we moved here, I had some friends that were like, hey, well, I say friends, I didn't really know them that well. They were like, let's start a book club. And I was like, literally, this is what goes through my head. Oh my gosh, I don't have time. Like I have kids and work and all the things. And I was traveling a lot and I don't have time for a book club. But then I was like, no, Emily, if you want friends, you need to show up and you need to maybe do things that are outside of your comfort zone, things you don't think you have time for. And I said yes. And my book club friends are like some of my favorite friends here in Pensacola. And they have become, oh my gosh, when Hurricane Sally hit last fall, the book club group text was what kept us going. I mean, it was 7 hours of being pounded by a hurricane and being terrified. And we just became such good friends, all because we were on a group text because of the books we were reading. And I think that's so important. I also think that it's important to remember that any relationship worth keeping is worth nurturing.
I was like, can we talk about, like, that's the key word though. And it looks different in different seasons, and it looks different from person to person. Some people are, really good phone talkers. Some people are really good, gift givers. Some people but you have to nurture that relationship. Otherwise it can't grow or flourish, or it won't be the relationship that you turn to. I mean, I can think of a couple of a couple of voice texts that I've sent you or that you've sent me where I'm like, okay, I need a prayer and here's what it is. And it's something deep and heavy and whatever. It doesn't turn into that kind of a friendship unless you like really do nurture it. And I think you have to be the kind of friend you want to have. It doesn't have to be hour phone calls. I related a lot to exercise because I, for the longest time, was like, well, if I don't have an hour to commit to doing a walk or a run or a bike or exercise, like lifting weights and doing a full hour workout, then I just might as well not work out.
Right.
Which that's not true. What's actually true is that 15-minute really quick spin class or that 15 push-ups that I did before I got into the shower. The next day I'm sore from it. I'm like, what?
You did 15 push-ups? That's amazing.
I mean, maybe not all on my toes. Anyway, but the comparison or the analogy is true for friendship too. Like you don't have to commit to an hour phone call once a week or, texting every single day. I mean, sure, I have friends that I do communicate with, best friends, very, very regularly because it's just part of my like everyday rhythm. Just like I brush my teeth every day. Why can't I like text a best friend? It's the same thing for me. But I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves to say, well, if it's not all of this and it's not all perfect and pretty with a bow and good, and I'm like all ready to go, then I just like shouldn't do it at all. And I think that we lose out on a lot when it comes to friendships when we think the nurturing has to be like a 3-course meal with all the things over whatever. And it can literally be a 30-second Marco Polo about the fact that your washing machine is broken and you're trying to, it doesn't have to be fancy. So
I saw on your Instagram yesterday that you had taken apart your washing machine and you were trying to fix it on your own. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah, that's my that's my Enneagram 3 coming out. My like overachiever. Newsflash, I did not fix it. So guess what we were going to be doing this weekend? We're going to be buying a new.
Oh, those kinds of purchases are so painful because what do you get out of it? I think one barrier to having good friends for some people is perfectionism.
Yes.
It's that, like, well, I don't want to have anyone over to my house. Well, I mean, let's pretend like COVID's not a thing.
Yes.
I don't want to have anybody over to my house because people actually live here and there's things on the floor and
dishes in the sink and maybe some crumbs on the counter. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you moved to Tampa and we lived right down the street from each other, I remember like you would just show up. And like I would have,
not without an invitation. I wasn't weird. Come on.
In my head, you would just show up because I didn't feel the perfectionism that I might have felt. So either I was like really on my game and be like, cool, come on over. There's like 900 toys on the floor and dishes in the sink. And I probably have food on my face. But I just remember like you would come over and you would come and just be part of my life. And I didn't feel like I had to prepare for anything,
Do you know what a gift that is? Because I even think with all of the people that I have been blessed to know and be friends with over the years, that like those people, the people that I really am like, come on in when the pillows are off the sofa and there's half of lunch is still on the counter. Like
Yeah.
those people, like what a gift, but I want to be that to someone else. So that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think you said it earlier, like be the kind of friend that you want to be
Wanna
and
have.
like have in return. And I think that
Mhm.
is wisdom. This is deep thoughts on our BFF chat in this
Deep thoughts.
on this rainy afternoon.
So I want to end each podcast with like a tip, like a tactical thing.
Oh, okay.
And one of the tips, like, or one of the things I was thinking of that I have tried to be a better friend by doing this is I make planners for a living.
Oh, this is a good tip. I'm ready for it.
I put things on my planner. Like I put, like when your daughter had her surgery recently, like put it on my planner, like put things like that so that you can then
Touch base.
Yeah, like I have a friend locally whose dad passed away a few years ago, and I have a recurring reminder on my iCal that just goes off that day so that I can be like, hey, thinking about you today, you know?
Oh, so good. And so easy. It's one of those things that takes such a little bit of effort to do and has a really, really big impact.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I have one. Can I go?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
So I like a coffee, and obviously supporting all the different local businesses is great, but you can send $5 Starbucks gift cards via text message in your phone, like from your one friend to the other.
So good.
And I have friends that are teachers. I have friends that are healthcare workers, professions that have been hit especially hard with all of these things. But I did this well before these unprecedented times. But it's my favorite way to just like brighten someone's day.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very little effort. Like I literally can do it pouring my coffee cup in my own kitchen or making lunches. I can send it and it like be relevant to say like, I hope this is the caffeine burst that you need at the end of a long week or whatever that is. And it's not big. It is not fancy, but man, it communicates that
it packs a punch. I totally agree. I think that is so thoughtful. I think that's something that you're so good at those like little things.
I think that these tactical things are so important
because
they're tangible ways for people to be a better friend and to like,
totally.
I don't know, like brush up on it's just like doing push-ups or sit-ups or I don't know, like whatever, wiping off your kitchen counter. Like it's tactical.
It all matters.
Things. Yeah.
Totally.
This makes me feel like I'm a big exercise. I mean, let's not be.
You're doing better. I have been off the wagon lately.
I know. We're going to get you back on.
I do. But I have struggled with what you said. Like if I don't have an hour, I mean, I will go months at a time where I'm like working out every single day for an hour and it's great. But if I can't be all in, I don't want to be in. But that's how I am about all of life.
I was going to say, well, that is your personality.
Right.
So we're going to work on that. That is what we're going to work on.
You get 500% or you get none. Nothing. All right. We're going to end these with rapid fire.
Okay.
So y'all, we have not shared these with each other and we are going to just ask each other random questions and you never know what you're going to get. But if we talk about any recommendations or links or whatever, we'll put them in the show notes webpage. Okay, Kristin, what's your favorite thing you're using on your skin right now?
Easy. My Ferrero face roll silicone scrubber thing to wash my face. Oh, the pink one? Yes. Obsessed. Next level. Obsessed.
I can't find my charger, but I need to plug it back in because it
it's so good.
It gets all the stuff off your face.
Yes. My face has never been cleaner.
And it didn't like mold or get any like stuff in it.
Correct. It's antibacterial and it holds a charge for forever. So once you mine's been charged since October. So come on.
So good. So good.
Yes.
Okay. Your turn.
Salty or sweet?
Salty all day long. My kids got a king cake and they were like, Mom, come in. And I'm like, I just want a bag of chips. Like, I don't want any king cake. I'm good. Oh, I'm going to have my Southern badge taken away because I said that. Are you sweet?
No, salty all day. Give me potato chips. Yeah,
same.
No.
It's my downfall. Okay. If it wasn't COVID times and you could travel anywhere in the United States, where would you go? There's a right and a wrong answer.
Well, the easy answer is Florida. Duh. I would like to see you. I also have another best friend who's going to have a baby in like 3 weeks. And so I would just love to be able to.
Also in Florida, right?
Also in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's sweet.
That's where I would go. Outside of the US, I would like to go to Paris. Is Kyle listening to this?
Me too. We had to cancel a trip to London last year.
I know. I'm still not over it for you.
Not either. I've never been to Europe. Okay, your turn.
Oh, pink or red?
Seriously? Pink. I have a palette, okay? I will tell you that I bought an iPad case the other day and
it's red. Oh, black?
I always.
Are you feeling okay?
I am. Listen, I'm growing boldly. Okay, outside of my color palette. I really don't have anything black, but I bought a black iPad case because it's just so sleek. It's from Kayana. I don't know how to say it, but it's real.
I would like some of their makeup bags for traveling when I do travel again.
Oh, so good. I got those for Team Simplified. They're so good. Okay, your turn.
Is it my turn?
No, it's my turn. I didn't travel. You didn't pick right. Okay. All right. What's for dinner tonight?
It's Friday night and it's pouring down rain takeout.
Same here.
I've reached my limit. I'm done.
We need a whole episode on cooking.
Oh,
Listen, I have tried my whole life to like simplify cooking, to grow to love cooking, to somehow finagle my way into the DNA that my brother got all of and get some of that.
Just know your lane. It is not your lane.
It is not my lane. I don't even like it. I don't.
Have a few things that you can make and then fill around there.
I call it a day. Now I love Home Chef. Home Chef, if you're listening, I love Home Chef. I love the oven ready Home Chefs because they're easy. And
you're good at making soup.
I make a good grilled cheese, y'all. Put butter on both sides of that bread. All right, you're last. Your turn.
Well, I wrote down one, but I know the answer to it for you, so I need to come up with a different one. Because it was coffee or tea. I know the answer.
Oh, okay, but I have gotten into tea again.
I know.
Rishi.
Yeah, it's good. So good. So
Peach
good.
Tea. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Maybe that's it. Coffee or tea?
I do. I love coffee. I love coffee. Like I'll drink coffee all day long. But tea, I've really tried hard to like get into tea, but I struggle with it. But I do like the Rishi, however you say it, the peach tea. If you put lots of honey and lemon in it, which you introduced me to.
Yes.
Okay, so tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, this is the first time I've recorded a podcast where I have a website.
Yeah, girl.
I mean, one it's maybe not tended to as much as it should be, but these unprecedented times in no preschool, KristinWinchester.com, as well as on the Instagram, as Kyle calls it, at Kristin Winchester. That is me. I'm there most every day sharing ridiculous snippets of what is happening.
And you have a morning show.
Oh, I do. It's sort of like a fake podcast. That's what I've determined.
I love it. All right, friend.
Hey, this was fun.
I love you. This is fun. Oh my gosh, that was so fun. There's nothing like spending time with your best friend. I just loved what Kristin had to say. And I just love the way that Kristin loves people. She's the kind of person that will just show up for you whenever you need her. And she's the kind that you could call in the middle of the night and she would pick up the phone. So wherever you are right now, I would love to just pray a little blessing over you and leave you with some kind words as we close out this episode and move on with our days. I hope your soul is warmed by a kindred spirit today and every day. I hope that you feel seen and known, even when you feel small and scared, so you know you're not alone. I hope you love someone for who they are and not as you wish they would be. And I hope that you receive that same quiet love in return. Okay, friends, as you know by now, I like to leave you with a simple action item at the end of every episode. And today it's this. I want you to think of a friend that you haven't connected with in a while, pick up your phone and just send her a quick text. Just say hi, let her know that she was on your mind, that you were thinking about her. It might feel super vulnerable, and that's because it is, but I think it will make her feel great and it will make you feel great. And who knows, it may add some forward momentum to a special friendship and bring someone back into your life that you haven't connected with in a while. Thank you for listening to the Simplified podcast. I hope this BFF chat encouraged you to reach out to those special people in your life and even look at welcoming someone new into your circle. You can find me on Instagram at Emily Lay and Kristin at Kristin Winchester, and learn a little more about the resources we mentioned in this episode in today's show notes. You can find those at emilylay.com, where you can also shop the Simplified brand of planners and products. And if you'd like more actionable tips to creating and building a life you love, I have to tell you that we are officially counting down until the release of my new book, Growing Boldly, Dare to Build a Life You Love, on March 23rd. If you're feeling stuck and need a message that'll inspire you to push past the lies and fears holding you back, this book is it. Life is short. You are worthy, and it is entirely possible to flourish in the driest of seasons. Before I let you go, I hope that you'll hop over to Apple Podcasts and leave a glowing review of this podcast. This podcast baby is brand new to the world, and it would mean so much to me if you leave a review there. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.